Hello, everyone. We are back for our unluckiest episode ever, episode number 13. It's a not so happy new year for those of us who are fans of the SEC. And yeah, we have a new champion atop the college football world, and it is Clemson. Of all the teams that it could have been, it's Clemson. I would have been happier with Notre Dame, but we have Clemson.
No, the
No.
Papists, really?
I would
I would have been
rather the
happier with
Patriots.
anybody.
Yes, that's my feelings exactly.
Yeah, I
But
despise Clemson. Yep, I'm right there
but
with you.
let's go ahead and let's discuss that. I mean, this was a big Saturday for college football. At least we're told that. The people in the stands didn't seem to think so. The tickets only went for a little over $100 a piece because there was so little interest in going to the game in California. But that might be a topic of discussion for another day. As
I'll
for the game
start.
itself, Rob, what you got?
I got very little. This is kind of like one of my little one-liners because let's put it this way.
Boy, I'm glad you started.
No, I turned as soon as Clemson scored 21, I turned the game off. So I didn't even watch the whole first half. I got bored with it. Alabama was playing terrible. I didn't see any change, so I don't really have much to say on it. So I thought I'd get myself out of the way.
All right. JB?
Alabama just got whipped, man. There's no other way to say it. I mean, it was just Clemson. We really didn't know how good they were because they really didn't play anybody. The ACC is incredibly weak. So you didn't know how good they were, but we did know that Trevor Lawrence was the number one recruited quarterback in the country, and he showed that he really is legit. And Alabama's secondary has always been their strong suit all year long. They got exposed, and Trevor Lawrence just kind of took it to the house. And so, and the O line, the Clemson's O line just whipped Alabama off the line of scrimmage on every play. I mean, just in every facet of the game. I've never seen it. I've never seen Alabama get beat that bad. Like, and I'm sorry, Sam. I mean, but it's just crazy. But anyway, yeah. So there's really nothing else to say. I mean, it was legitimate. I mean, all I will say is look out for Saban in the next couple of years because he's going to be on a warpath after that beating.
Well, he very well may be. JD, what do you have?
Man, that game, I would have rather anybody to win but Clemson. Bama didn't even come to the game. I mean, they just didn't even show up. I ended up watching the whole game, but just because it was on, and I was just still hoping Bama could come back and do something. But yeah, I mean, it was horrible. However, as much as I hate to say it, Clemson pulled it out, and I, of course, living where I live, I got so many friends and family that are Clemson fans, and they deserved it. They play hard this year. I mean, did I want to see it? No, but they did deserve it.
Yep. All right, Samuel, our in-house Alabama fan, is here for the recap. Samuel, what happened?
I just think the better team really won, really, to be honest with you. On that night, anyway. I'm not sure if Clemson is better than Alabama. They were on that night, though, in every phase of the game. Now, if I think Saban had to go back and do it over again, I think he would have put a premium on running the ball because I don't think Clemson really did a very good job of stopping Alabama's run game. And it comes down to really 4 possessions in that second half. Alabama ran the ball or got the ball inside the 15-yard line 4 times in the second half and scored 0 points.
Yeah.
And that's the game. If you have it's a different game. And twice they got the ball to the 1-yard line and didn't score. Some of I'm not blaming Mike Locksley. This is not his fault. But I just kind of question some of the decisions they made, especially like fourth and goal from the 3. and they run to a Tagovailoa. That's just not that. And then the fake field goal was curious. I think Saban felt the urgency in the game. That's where the fake field goal came from, and it's just it's kind of, there's some curious things that happen. I do think it's Saban's worst staff as far as coordinators go. Obviously, the defense core they have now is not Kirby Smart, obviously, and Mike Locksley, as good as he is it's not Lane Kiffin or any of those guys either. So I think, in a nutshell, Clemson lined up and whipped Alabama. That's the bottom line. And I don't know if they played 10 times, if Alabama would win 3 or 4. I think Clemson was definitely better that night, and that's all you can go off is that one game. So,
all right. Well, as for myself, I have a few comments. Firstly, not to throw cold water in anybody's face by quoting Les Miles, but wow, what a game! I don't think that there's anybody who predicted that to happen. Right?
You certainly didn't.
I certainly didn't. I had Alabama winning that game by 3 scores. I had Alabama winning by at least 21 points. I thought up to 24. I didn't think that Clemson had a prayer of winning this game, and I was vocal about that. Insert foot in mouth. But that's
I did that plenty of times.
That's what ended up happening.
But nobody did like Ashton did though with the whole Kentucky thing. Let's be honest.
No, I actually stand by that actually. So.
I know you do, which is hilarious. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if anybody had their foot in their mouth, it was you on that.
Yeah. But
Clemson is the same as Kentucky.
They are. But okay, let's go back through it. Because really, I don't want to just say, "Oh, Clemson whipped them." I want to know what happened, right? Because something happened here. Alabama came out, and Tua was off immediately. Right, I think it's in the first quarter alone he throws 2 interceptions, and I've never seen this quarterback be either that desperate or that inconsistent throwing the ball. This is a quarterback who threw less than 5 picks all year, right? And he throws 2 in almost 1 quarter, or maybe 1 quarter. I don't know. I watched it in a hospital waiting room, so I could only get bits and pieces. But Tua was off, right? So why was that? Who knows? Maybe, who knows? I don't think it was nerves because he came in last season and did beautifully. But the offense for Alabama did not click on all cylinders, right? I think that's patently obvious. Clemson's defensive line, I will admit, was severely underestimating them. I didn't think they were as good as they are, and they are very good. Moving forward, there were a few coaching decisions that I didn't like. And it's the first time, really, that I've ever seen that from Nick Saban, right? We got a heavy dose of that with Les Miles in the boot, and there were many times when we collectively, as a state, screamed at the television, saying, "What are you doing, you do?" And I got the feeling that Alabama stood up as collectively as a state and said, "What are you doing, you doofus," when Jalen Hurts ran the ball on a fake field goal attempt on 4th and 6. Now, do I hate a fake field goal attempt there? No, I don't. But the play call was horrendous.
Not if you're Alabama.
Right.
If you're Alabama and you can't kick a field goal anyway, so yeah.
Right.
I don't think it was Jalen Hurts. I think it was the 3rd string quarterback, Mike Jones, the holder.
So that's even better, right? You have the 3rd string quarterback who's running up the middle with, get this, the kicker as the lead blocker.
Yeah.
Right.
So Saban said we didn't block them. I wonder why.
so there's a few coaching decisions that I didn't understand, and like Samuel said, Alabama really looked sharp between the 20s outside of those 2 interceptions. Right? They looked pretty good between the 20s. But once they got into the red zone, it's like they forgot how to play football. It's like they didn't have a red zone package that they could go to and consistently move the ball into the end zone. So in the first quarter, Alabama matches Clemson, even coming back and taking the lead after the 2 interceptions, after everything. They take the lead. I believe the score was 16-14, and it's looking like a ball game, right? This is really Tua's time to shine. Alabama is clicking on all cylinders for the first time. It seems all game, and all at once the dams break, and they could not stop Clemson from hemorrhaging points on the scoreboard. It was unbelievable. Right, every time Clemson touched the ball, they scored. It seemed like, but Kevin Briggins shared something on his Facebook group. I don't know if it's in the Tavern, but it's a video of guys doing exactly what we're doing here, and they actually went through everything and said, "Yeah, we were wrong, and here's why." So what happened was Clemson all season long was a running team, right? They were a run first, run heavy team. Alabama, I think, played for that. They were expecting that type of thing. And Clemson made it to third down 12 times. Really, we'll say 11 times because that last time was to try and run out the clock and end the game. But 11 times. Of those 11 times, they threw the ball 11 times. And the quarterback completed 8 of those passes and threw for 240 yards on third down. So Alabama was consistently shutting down Clemson on first and second down, right? Their defense was doing their job on first and second down because Clemson was playing to their tendency on first and second down. And then on third down, Dabo handed the ball to Trevor Lawrence and said, "Win the game for us, son," and he did. And Clemson won the game. And they won the game not necessarily because they're the better team, but because they outcoached Nick Saban. And I think that's the first time maybe in his entire career that that's ever been the case, right? You have all of the poor play calling in the red zone. You have the poor decision in play call, at least, on the fake field goal. And you have a defense that can't get off the field on third down because Clemson is calling the exact right play. So my hat's off to Clemson, but let's take this into account. Kentucky was one game from going to the SEC championship game. Kentucky looked good. And if Kentucky has a game like Clemson had, where everything they do works, where they're just on fire, clicking on all cylinders, and Nick Saban coaches a game the same way that he coached against Clemson and his assistants, I don't see Alabama winning that game either, right? Maybe the margin is much larger here, much larger, but I don't know that Alabama can win when they go out and play the way that they played. So Clemson was definitely deserving of this in the current format, but I don't know necessarily that they're the best team.
Alabama has a better front four than they have a secondary, so they could stop a running game from Kentucky. Kentucky's only offense was Benny Snell. I mean, they would contain him like they do every other running back that they face.
Yeah. I agree there, but let's assume for a minute that the quarterback just has an amazing game like Trevor Lawrence had, right? Just one uncharacteristically good game, just one. In that game,
Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback, though, man.
That's the difference between Clemson and Kentucky. Yeah, I'll agree there. But let's say that the quarterback has one characteristically amazing game for Kentucky, and I don't think that Kentucky looks much different from Clemson in that game.
How big of a factor was Clemson playing Notre Dame in the semifinal versus Alabama playing Oklahoma in a game where they had to play all their guys for 4 quarters instead of playing Notre Dame where Clemson didn't necessarily play their guys.
So
how big of a factor was that?
So I think personally that it was a big factor, not in that they got to rest, but because everybody assumed Notre Dame was the worst team that's ever walked the face of the planet, which they are. And they're the worst undefeated team since Notre Dame. And
since the fake girlfriends.
Exactly.
Mentateo.
Exactly. So them being the worst undefeated team since Notre Dame
man, we had to go there.
that everybody thought Clemson won that game because Notre Dame was bad. So I think that there's a little bit of overlooking that game because they've done this other thing all season long, but they didn't look at the tendencies that were broken in that game so much. So I think that the play calling, the strategy, the game plan, that's the word I was looking for. But the game plan for Alabama was shaped tremendously by the majority of the season for Clemson, and I don't think it was shaped tremendously by the Notre Dame game itself. So I think that it's a big factor in that, but I don't think that necessarily Clemson had the easier road to hoe. I think that Clemson and Alabama meet in the national championship game regardless of which side of the bracket they're on.
Gotcha. So y'all want to move on to questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on to questions.
Let's do this.
Do it.
A couple of them are just a quick, short answers. I'm going to skip Nathan Alexander Forrester because we pretty much covered that. How long does it take Alabama to get over the hurt? I don't know. Sam, I don't think you guys really care that much. I mean, y'all are looking for next season. Wes Mewborn asks, how long before Dabo is in Tuscaloosa? Honestly, I don't think he's going to Tuscaloosa. No. I think he's going to stay.
After that.
I think he's going to stay in Clemson, and he's going to be the Bear Bryant of Clemson is what he's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thoughts on that. Why would he go to Tuscaloosa where he has to play Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M? Tennessee will be back eventually. Why?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes
where he was going with that. Where he was going with that is it doesn't make sense schedule wise. You got the ACC who. Yes, some years they have Florida State. Miami hasn't been good in years, but there are some teams that in the ACC that have good programs that will be back up. But for the long run, I don't think they're ever going to be most years anyway, they're not going to be what the SEC is. So why would you go play coach in the SEC when you can win at Clemson and be – I think that's what Sam was alluding to before we lost him. But
yeah. Okay. So I agree with that. I don't see Dabo leaving. I mean, this is Clemson's one of Clemson's biggest real runs at a dynasty. So, they're gonna give him whatever money he needs. They're gonna take care of him however they can. They're gonna do whatever they can to keep Dabo in Clemson, and he's already got a whole bunch of recruiting classes and a lot invested in the university.
Although, fun fact, the best class he's had since he's been there as far as recruiting rankings is 7, and that was last year. That was the highest he'd ever had.
Right.
The previous classes were not in the top 10.
Right.
Huh?
Which means he's steady climbing.
Well, yeah, but it also means that it just shows to me his coaching level.
Yeah.
If you can – because, look at Alabama. And Saban's a great coach. I'm not taking a single thing away from Saban. But Saban's got great players year after year.
Right.
And so there's some – I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just getting talent that's under the radar some.
Yeah.
And he's just coaching it up. I don't know. But Dabo's doing something at Clemson that's impressive because they're competing year after year. And, they're in the playoffs pretty much every year. And their recruiting classes have not been elite as far as the rankings have gone.
Right.
So
they're getting the right players, not necessarily the best players.
Right.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know necessarily what that consists of. I'm not a college football coach, Maybe he just knows who to get and how to coach. Maybe he's getting the players that he knows how to coach the right way. I don't know.
Right.
That's like Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was not a draft pick out of high school. People were expecting Trevor Lawrence to be a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
But Deshaun Watson wasn't that out of high school. A lot of these guys he's getting aren't those guys. BT Lawrence, the guy that's suspended, was not a blockbuster draft pick out of high school. But what he's doing is he's taking those kids that are 3 stars and giving them 3 years, and they're 5 stars when they graduate.
Yeah.
He's doing a good job of developing players.
Right.
So,
JB, what's our next question?
This is probably just for me and you, Ashton, because I think we're the only ones in that group. How long until all SEC fans are banned from the 5-point lead?
I don't know. I don't think that Brandon will kick us out. At least.
No, man. Yeah. Brandon's a good dude. Like he knows that we're all about just having fun when we're in there, and it's good, clean fun. And we allowed him in the tavern. So
right. So if he kicks everybody else out, he's not going to kick me out.
That's true. Yeah, he won't kick me out, man. Me and Brandon we go back to the early days of the Reformed Pub, back when there was only like 20 members in that group.
Wow.
Anyway, next question. Serious question. This is from Kyle Warnock. If you could replace any team in the SEC, who would it be, and who would you replace them with, and why?
Missouri and UCF.
Oh no!
I was gonna say Missouri. Yes.
Yeah. I want Missouri going.
I would lose Vandy before I'd lose Missouri.
Nope, I want Missouri going.
You need Vandy for the graduation rate.
That's right.
That's true.
I say we get rid of Arkansas.
Okay. We'll just go in the Big 12 and win some ball games. How about that?
Right.
Yeah, but legitimately, JB, who are you kicking out?
Honestly, I'd kick Vandy out, to be honest.
Oh, man. Come on.
Who you adding?
Take her down, man.
Who you adding, JB?
I'm going to add either Clemson or North Carolina. North Carolina because of basketball.
What?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we need another.
That doesn't make it.
We need another great basketball team.
But here's why that doesn't make sense. If you take North Carolina, you got to take Duke. I mean, come on.
No.
That makes no sense.
They can still play every year.
What sense does Missouri make?
No. I'm just saying, though, he's making the argument for North Carolina coming in because of basketball. But at that point, I mean, you've had North Carolina, Duke. I'm saying this as a Kentucky basketball fan, man. North Carolina, Duke is the best matchup of the year.
Yes.
Well,
as much as I love Kentucky, Louisville.
Well, they can start another rivalry with Kentucky. How about that?
They already have it. Don't get me started on
JD,
that.
Who are you kicking out of the SEC?
I hate North Carolina.
JD?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Johnny Mack.
Mack, yeah.
Man, I'd say, I don't know. I'd probably say Missouri also.
Gosh, I like you. Who are you adding?
That's the one I was kind of just jumping around with.
You there? All right. He's no longer here. Rob, let's move on to.
He didn't have an answer, so.
Let's move on to your suggestions, Rob.
Oh man. So if you asked me growing up, I would have said Tennessee, but only because I hated them so much, because that was what I was taught to hate. But I wouldn't do that. I mean, they're a part of the SEC. I don't know, man. Like, part of me wants to say Vanderbilt, but at the same time, it's like they've been in for so long.
Yeah,
they've been in longer than a lot of teams.
Yeah, like Missouri.
Had you
Arkansas.
Had you asked me, Arkansas. Had you asked me like a couple of years ago, I would have easily said Missouri, like in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
but they're actually starting to climb now, and it's hard for me to want to kick them.
It's not hard for me.
Yeah. But honestly, I'd have to say of the teams that are in, I would probably kick Missouri just because I'm not going to kick the ones that have been in for a long time. Like I'm not going to kick. You can't kick Kentucky because of what they do in so many other sports. You can't, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina. The only team in the East that you could even remotely kick teams would be Vanderbilt or Missouri. In the West, I mean, who you really gonna even think to kick? Honestly,
I'd be okay with kicking Ole Miss. I forget they're there sometimes.
Yeah, maybe Mississippi State too.
Let them go play in the Sun Belt, man. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, we could if we're going that route,
we can join Arkansas.
If we're going that route, we could just go ahead and kick Mississippi State too. But I'm kidding.
Mississippi State and Ole Miss are some OG.
I'm kidding.
For real, man.
But anyway, I would say,
I
would say probably Ole Miss has its merits in a lot of other sports.
Yeah, and they have their history.
Right, and so I'd probably say Missouri, and to add, I would say that'd be pretty easy. I would put Clemson in because I want Georgia and they better be in the freaking East, not in the West where it makes no sense like they did with
Missouri.
Missouri's in the East. That makes no sense. And the reason I want Clemson in is because I want Georgia to go back to freaking playing them every year.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there. You know why Missouri's in the East, right?
So, because Alabama in the West.
Because Alabama has to throw their weight around because they want to keep Tennessee and Auburn on the schedule every single year. If Auburn goes to the East, they have to give up one of those games. So
See, I don't give a crap about
the team that's the best in the conference is going to have the say so in that. But anyway, Sam's going to answer. So
I'm back. Just to let you know.
Kick out Mizzou.
Good to see you.
Kick out Mizzou. I think bring in either Clemson or Texas. One or two.
Okay.
Okay. JB, what do you think about that?
I know y'all don't like Texas, but they're worth billions.
They bring a lot of money. I'll say that. Look,
revenue.
I've been pretty consistent here. And you're gonna be surprised. I've been consistent all over Facebook. I want Texas in the SEC because I want to play them every year. Because
so you want them in the West?
Yeah, I'll take them in the West.
Or
I'll take them in the West.
Rival.
Who are you going to take out?
Eastern school.
How are you going to shake that up, though? If you take Missouri out and put in Texas in the West, what are you going to do with the East?
Move both Alabama schools over to the East, bro.
You could do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, cut it off with Mississippi.
But then we need another Eastern school in the West. Who you got?
In the West?
No, you don't.
Yeah, you're moving both of the Alabama schools to the East.
You're removing Missouri.
You're
moving the other two to the East, and you're putting Texas in the West.
Yep.
So West is losing 2, the East is losing 1, and gaining 2.
Right.
So
you would have to move one over.
I don't know, man. Give us Texas Tech or Baylor or whatever. Oklahoma.
As an
Eastern. I don't want flag football.
No, that wasn't
JB.
That wasn't the thing. It wasn't adding another team into the SEC. It was taking one from the East and moving it to the West. If you're doing it that way, I think that's what Ashton was saying, right? At that point, because you move, okay.
So you're removing one from the East,
right?
You're moving 2 to the East,
from the West, and you're putting one in the West,
right?
So you'd have to move one from the East to the West to balance it,
right?
I got you.
Or you could just add another team to the West.
Yeah, but then it would still be on.
No, it would be unbalanced if you moved them from the East to the West because then you still have that. Anyway,
okay, we're getting into math problems here. Yeah. So let's just move on.
Yeah,
let's hear your
it's 1 o'clock.
Who you would bring in?
It's 1 o'clock on real.
Who I'd bring in?
Yeah, who are you bringing into the SEC?
I'm thinking I'd either bring in Virginia or Virginia Tech.
Oh, I like it.
And the reason being, if you look at the map of the Southeast United States, you have a major school from each state, except Virginia.
And in basketball, woo-hoo.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Man.
But
Virginia and basketball,
best coach team in the country.
Yeah, but personally, I want Missouri gone. They are not in the SEC. They are not an SEC team. They never will be. Texas A&M has kind of grown on me. It used to be Texas A&M and Missouri would never be SEC schools, but Texas A&M has kind of grown on me. They finally beat LSU, so
well, and McKissick,
kind of the
that's
litmus
the reason
test.
why they're going on. Let's be honest.
That might be part of it. I mean, he helped us set up this stream. But,
Yeah.
I wanted Florida State and Clemson, so I wanted instead of A&M and Missouri.
Yeah,
Florida State.
I mean, I like that, but you were stuck with A&M and Missouri. And A&M is fun, at least they're a Western school. Missouri is just awful. You know what they're known for? They're known for Michael Sam. It's like, hey, who's your most famous football player? Oh, it's the gay guy. Like, gosh, Missouri does not belong.
Hashtag
we just dropped that on live.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next question.
I mean,
next question.
I haven't said who I'd bring in yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said UCF at the beginning of the question because I would literally rather have anybody than Missouri. UCF was just a name.
Okay, so that wasn't serious.
That was tongue in cheek.
What?
Okay.
That was tongue in cheek.
Oh, absolutely. Most of what I say is.
Shocker.
He's radical, but he's like lying most of the time. So go ahead.
Lying? I don't know about lying.
All right. Let's
go ahead.
Cut our losses and move on.
All right, Ashton, who are you really bringing in besides UCF?
Legitimately, probably somebody like Clemson. I would like to see. I legitimately would like to see UCF. They're a Florida school. It would let them actually split some of that recruiting with Florida, and that would stay in the SEC more. It would hurt Florida State, and the two schools that would really grow would be Florida and UCF because they end up playing each other every year, and that could turn into a pretty awesome rivalry. I'd like to see somebody like Georgia Tech maybe. Historic rivals that haven't fallen off into complete obscurity, but they're not as good, and they would have a chance to grow because legitimately Missouri is now a better football team than they were in the Big 12. Texas A&M certainly is. They're really coming along. I think adding Jimbo Fisher really helped them. But there's just a southern school in the Florida, Georgia, maybe even Virginia area. I didn't even think about Virginia, but that's a really good pick.
Yeah. I do want Texas. I'll say that. I do want Texas. Okay, Scott Tuning asks, and this is probably for me because I think I'm the only one here who is rooting for Clemson in the national championship. As a fan of an SEC team, why would you not root for an SEC team against a team from another conference? Another win only makes the conference stronger. Okay, I'm going to answer this right now, and then y'all can rebuttal this.
Okay.
Only makes the conference stronger. I don't give a rip about the conference. I give a rip about the Arkansas Razorbacks. Okay, when there is a team in the conference, especially in your division, that is constantly winning the division and winning the conference and getting 4- and 5-star recruits without even walking out the door, because they know they're going to win a national championship there, so they're going to get all the best recruits. They get recruits from Arkansas that we should be getting, but we're not. But when that same team keeps winning and winning and winning, they're going to keep getting all the good recruits that you're going to miss out on. If that team gets knocked down a step, maybe a couple of those guys will be like, okay, well, maybe they're about to fall off. And then they'll start going to Mississippi State or Arkansas or LSU. I mean, to me, Alabama is stealing recruits from all over the country. And it's just, I would like to see a more balanced SEC. And the more they lose in the national championship, the better opportunity we have in that. And I think both of you guys, the LSU and Georgia fan in here, can probably relate to that because both of y'all could have been national contenders this year if it weren't for Alabama. But yeah, I mean,
All right.
Georgia's.
Can I go first?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, you're throwing Georgia in there. Georgia lost that game themselves, so let's get that straight.
Yeah.
Georgia blew that game. They dominated. I mean, Sam will agree. They dominated Alabama for 3 quarters and choked. Yeah. As opposed to last year.
I think it runs in the water there.
Well, okay. Here's what I'll say about that.
The Falcons.
So
Braves.
Everyone. No. So this is what I'll say from last year's national championship to the SEC championship this year. Last year, I didn't feel like we choked. Alabama's depth just took over. This year, we just straight up choked. There was a difference between those 2 games, in my opinion. But with that said, we're doing fine in recruiting. Alabama's not hurting us in recruiting. So I'm not really I think Kirby's doing his thing. Edo's doing his thing. I don't think Alabama I mean, we're not Arkansas fans, so we're not really as affected as you are, JB. But but to me, like Solberg says, if you're gonna call yourself an SEC fan, don't root for other conferences. So
I'm not rooting for other conferences. I'm rooting for Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney is a great dude. I like Dabo.
Okay, that's not the point.
And he's Dabo Swinney is an SEC guy, though.
So
think about that. Nick Saban is a freaking Yankee. So like you got an SEC coach against the Yankees. So I mean,
but
it makes it easier.
The SEC and Dabo's not. So
I don't care. I don't care. I'm still gonna root for the Southern boy.
No.
All right. Now it's my turn.
Go for it.
All right. What you've said is true. Alabama steals a lot of recruits from Louisiana. There were, I think, 10 plus on the roster for the national championship game on Monday from Louisiana. It's a lot of recruits that are getting stolen by Alabama, but they're beginning to be stolen as well by Clemson. So it's kind of pick your poison. Another thing that I'd like to say, 29-0 was the score of the LSU Alabama game. Right, that's a 5-score ball game, and at the end of it, Alabama took their foot off the gas. So let's see here. We lost by 5 scores to a team that couldn't beat Clemson. So that hurts. I would rather lose by 5 scores to a national champion in the SEC than a team that couldn't beat Clemson.
So it's a pride issue.
Yes, absolutely. All of the SEC is a pride issue.
Okay, repent.
Okay. If you have any pride in your school, which you do, that's preventing you from cheering for Alabama. So you also have to repent for
my God.
Pride
it's not about that.
Sin. So calm down there.
Repent
before you start.
Repent
critically. I was cheering for Alabama to win that game. Number one, because I hate Clemson more than I hate Alabama, and number two, because Alabama, right? I don't want to lose to a second-rate ball team. I don't want to lose to a ball team that is not a champion. I want our losses to be to ball teams that were legitimately the best in the country every day of the year, right? And Alabama might be the best,
like Texas A&M.
Every day but one. And if you want to get into this, LSU won that first overtime. That was a fumble.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Let's not go down that trail.
If you want to get into this, I will get into this. But no.
What'd you start, JB?
I want LSU's losses to be to the best teams in the country, and if it's not, then why wasn't LSU in that ball game? Right? LSU could have at least kept it within 4 scores, for sure, right? If that's the litmus test, then why not? Our defense could have done just as good or just as poorly. So if I'm gonna lose to somebody, I want to lose to somebody who is the best, right? And somebody that I get to play next year and the year after and the year after. There's no guarantee that we ever get to play Clemson again, right? There's no guarantee that there's ever vengeance. There's no guarantee, but there is vengeance if Alabama is the national champion and they lose next season to LSU. So I cheer for the SEC because there's a chance at vindication. There's a chance at vengeance. There's a chance at all of these things. And number two, it makes the SEC look better. It really does. So the recruiting thing, it's kind of pick your poison. Clemson and Alabama are both stealing recruits from across the country. So that's not a compelling argument in my opinion.
Well, Alabama's stealing recruits mostly from our region, and Clemson is stealing recruits mostly from that region.
Yeah,
I would disagree with that.
Well, Clemson is beginning to get into this region as well because Alabama doesn't have control of it anymore. Clemson's gaining it.
No, I was disagreeing with JB on Alabama. I think because the thing about recruiting is before Kirby, like if you looked at so many of the SEC schools' rosters and even non-SEC school teams, they were recruiting out of Georgia. I mean, you look at Alabama, they had at least 10 guys from the state of Georgia, 10, 15 guys. You look at Tennessee, recruiting in Georgia. Everyone was pulling players out of Georgia because, Georgia, Texas, and Florida are three of the, top recruiting states in the country. And even more, I think Georgia's
number one now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Kirby is keeping so many of those in state, and that is why he is getting these top recruiting classes now. Rick couldn't do that. No. Alabama was stealing those guys from him, and Kirby has turned that around. So to me, it's not just players nowadays. They want to look for more things than just what do most players look for? They're looking for the next step to go to the NFL. Most of them are. So if you're a top recruit, you're not looking necessarily on just games won. It's how they won. Like Ashton was breaking down the national championship on like more semantics than the score, which that's what players are doing. That's why Jaden Hazelwood, the number one wide receiver, went to Oklahoma because he saw things within Georgia. I still don't get it, but he saw things within Georgia that, he thinks he's got a better shot going to Oklahoma at making it to the next level. So right. I think there's way more that goes into recruiting than just winning national championships.
Right. Okay, so in short, JB is wrong. Let's get the next question.
Hey, we didn't let the other two answer that, especially Sam. I want to hear your take on this, being the Bama fan.
I root for the SEC no matter what, with one exception.
Okay.
I never root for Auburn.
That's understandable.
There you go.
That's fair.
I can understand that.
When Kentucky's in the Final Four, I root for Kentucky. If Mississippi State is if Arkansas is in the College World Series, I root for Arkansas, even though they can't catch a fly ball. But
see, that's my thing. What you said about Auburn, that is your biggest rivalry, and I get that. So I mean, you look at Mississippi State; they will never root for Ole Miss, ever. Yeah. And Ole Miss will never root for Mississippi State because they're in-state, big-time rivalries. The way I look at it is anybody in the SEC West is our rivalry, and if it's somebody that has beat us 12 years in a row, I kind of want them to lose. So, like,
my two favorite teams, Alabama and whoever Auburn's playing.
Exactly. It don't matter. Exactly. See that what Sam says exactly. It makes sense. Like you root against your rivalries, and to me, somebody who beats the crap out of you every year is your rivalry.
Tech is our in-state rivalry.
You may not be a rivalry to them, but they're a rivalry to you. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not a rivalry if one team wins 12 years in a row. That's not a rivalry.
Well, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. That's what it does.
Yeah. It's not basketball, JB.
Yeah. Basketball? Yeah.
Is that it for the question?
What?
Do what?
Huh?
I said
What'd you say?
it's about basketball. Arkansas dominates basketball. The Alabama rivalry.
Well, yeah, the Alabama rivalry for sure. Let's go one more
All right.
question, and then we'll move on to basketball.
Okay.
Predictions. Where does Jalen Hurts and Ty Story transfer to? Let's go to Johnny Mack on this since he didn't get to answer on the last one.
JD?
Johnny Mack.
Hello.
All right. All righty then. Let's go to Rob here.
I don't really know that I have much input on Ty Story. As far as Jalen, I'm struggling with that one because honestly, from a play right away, fit in style wise, he fits with Auburn, but I don't see him going there. I mean,
Right.
it just doesn't make sense from like if he seems to really love Alabama. I think he's just going because he wants to play, which is understandable
Yeah.
from someone who's from an athlete. I understand you want to be able to play, but at the same time, like I can see that might be the last place he goes. He with everything shaking up the way it does. I mean, God, Lord, I hate to say it, but I think it makes sense for him to go to Tennessee. I mean, I think he would fit in well. I think he's got a decent offensive coordinator going there. Let's not get started on that because
Decent. Meh.
Well, okay. Let me say this. Jim Chaney's not bad. He's just got. If y'all saw my comment, he just gets stuck. He doesn't adjust. That's his problem. His main play calling is not bad. He just gets stuck in his play calling, and we couldn't score in the red zone like crap. As far as a touchdown, we'd kick so many field goals.
Right.
So that was my biggest problem. But who knows how he'll do it Tennessee for the second time. He's getting paid $1.5 million, so maybe he'll do all right. But with the coaching staff they're building and they're starting to come up, I think it kind of makes sense for him to go there. He could go to Arkansas. I mean, I don't.
That'd be okay.
I'm sure I know JB would be okay with that. I don't see him going there just because I don't. Honestly, JB may not want to hear this. I just don't think Arkansas is at the point where, like, 2-3 years down the road, if Jalen was going, Arkansas may be coming up at that point. Arkansas is just so, like,
a quarterback is
right
not going to
now.
fix the problem.
Right, exactly. And so
we don't have an offensive line, so
right. And so for him to go there would be kind of dumb if he's not going to have someone to block for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's like a bunch of options he could choose, honestly. But I think God, it would drive me crazy because I wouldn't hear the end of it from my Tennessee friends. But I think it makes the most sense, honestly.
Right.
Sam, what do you think, bro?
I'm gonna go with TCU for Jalen Hurts. He's going home. He's a Texas guy. I think that's a good fit for him. You know,
that's true.
To be honest with you, don't take this the wrong way, JB. I didn't know Ty Story was transferring. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I have no clue.
I have no clue.
Just wait till I comment on that.
Maybe he's just a kid enough that he got some sense knocked into him and he realized Arkansas wasn't where he needed to be.
I'll have a comment on him later.
That's why I was like, wait, what?
I don't think Jalen Hurts stays in the SEC. I think he'll leave the SEC. I don't know. Maybe.
All right.
TCU would – I mean, I agree that that's not a bad choice for him. Their offense would suit him. So, yeah. And as a Texas guy, I mean, I think it would make sense. So.
Right. Well, I personally, I could see Jalen going pretty much anywhere in the SEC. I don't know that he leaves the SEC. I think I come down just the opposite of you, Sam. But I could see him playing somewhere like Texas A&M because their quarterback is not the answer. That quarterback has had like a few good games this year, and everywhere else looked completely inconsistent. And Jalen Hurts offers some consistency at the position. I could see him going to somewhere like Florida. You know, schools where they're a quarterback from being great, right? Florida, Mississippi State is there, Texas A&M. I'd say Kentucky would be pretty high on the list as well. But you know,
yeah, especially has Benny Snell declared yet?
Yes,
He has.
I think he has.
Because if he hasn't, and you add Jalen to that mix, I said that from like mid-season when we were talking about this before.
We talked about this.
Yeah. I said Kentucky because I think well, it was either Jalen or I think it was Jalen we were talking about, but it might have been Kelly Bryant. Anyway, either one, I think could fit in there just because Kentucky's got a lot going for them. They just need a freaking quarterback.
That's exactly right.
JB,
what you got?
I think Jalen, and I'm going to stay consistent here. I've said this several weeks ago. I think the best place for Jalen to go would be either to Florida or Oklahoma. Two places where a quarterback can flourish, because you've got Oklahoma where if you're a quarterback there, you can win the Heisman Trophy. And put up great numbers. And if you go to Florida, you will have Dan Mullen, who has developed people like Tim Tebow and Dak Prescott, who were not great quarterbacks when they first came there. They were, decent dual threat guys that couldn't really throw the ball. And he developed into great passers who went on to the NFL. One of them had a short-lived career, and the other one, we will see what happens. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I hope it's good. So yeah, I think Dan Mullen's a great developer of quarterback. So one of those two schools would be great for him, but I could see him going to a Texas school like what Sam said, because that is home for him. He could be the hometown hero. And even if he doesn't make it to the NFL, he can go into any restaurant in the state and, eat for free. But I think he wants to get to the NFL. So if he goes somewhere like Texas Tech or TCU or something like that, or even Texas. But Texas got Ellinger, and I don't think that'll be a battle there.
Yeah, that's so back himself.
Yeah. So I think he's going to go somewhere where he's going to play, because he has 1 year to play. So I could see TCU or Baylor or Texas Tech, and if he does that would be great. So
here's the thing. So I agree with you on Oklahoma. I think Florida too. Here's my problems with those schools. Florida has a really good quarterback who I haven't seen much from him, but from one of my friends that fills me in says that he's probably going to be the quarterback. They basically were holding him out this year late in the season just because they wanted to redshirt him. At that point, their season, they weren't going to gain too much from it, so they were holding him off. And then, but I do agree with Dan Mullen and with quarterbacks. I agree completely. I just don't know that he would be the definite starter. With Oklahoma, I think it makes great sense because the style they run there, the coaching. Then you add freaking Jaden Hazelwood with Jalen Hurts, would be crazy. I just don't know. I was thinking, didn't they have a quarterback behind Kyler? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's a, that's something. Here's the thing about Jalen Hurts. He's going to go somewhere where he knows without a shadow of a doubt he can play. If there's even a remote chance that he can't or that he's not going to be the starter, he's not going to go there.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
But I agree that he fits well with those programs. Yes.
So okay, I think we're going to move on to hoops now, and
Well, that means, gentlemen, that I'm going to call it a night because I don't follow it, and I would sit here like a bumbling idiot. So I'm going to let JB go ahead and run the show from here on out. Adios, amigos. Let your light shine before others, and all that jazz. JB will quote that later. Y'all have a good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So anyway, I just want to go over the scores over the past week because SEC play has just started and it's about to get fun, guys. I mean, SEC basketball, it's just everybody knows it. You play people that they know the style of play that you are, and they know how to defend you, and you get a lot of upsets. And we've had a couple this week that's just been it's been fun to watch.
You just can't wait to mention one of them. I know.
I'm gonna go over the scores. We've got Arkansas who beat Texas A&M by 2 points, and Tennessee who beat the living dog crap out of Georgia, 96-50, and that's double their score if you're not paying attention. Ole Miss actually is coming on strong this year, and they beat Vandy 81-71. South Carolina beats Florida 71-69, and the game of the week, in my opinion, was when Alabama beat Kentucky. It was at Alabama, and I said this, kind of said this on the Tavern, but I'm going to say it for real now. I'm going to say Roll Tide last Saturday. Because everybody knows that I hate Kentucky basketball. Always have, always will, and it's okay. My brother over here is wearing a UK hat, and he can do that. It's fine. He can root for true schools all he wants to, but I will never do that. And then that Tuesday we had 4 games. We had Kentucky beat Texas A&M. South Carolina beat Mississippi State. South Carolina is a 7-7 team, and they beat a 9-3? They were 9-3 at the time, Vandy, and a 12-1 Mississippi State, who was ranked 14 in the nation. Got a great coach, and South Carolina beat them in overtime, which was a phenomenal game there. Alabama lost to LSU because LSU has maybe the best point guard in the SEC, at least the top 3. And then Tennessee, of course, beats Missouri because Tennessee is absolutely ridiculous this year. Then we go to Wednesday. Arkansas loses to Florida at home, and it made me cry. Literally, I think I might have shed a tear. We just absolutely played like garbage that game. Mason Jones had 30 points, 30 out of the 51 that we scored. He scored 30.
He's a baller.
Yeah, for real, right? And then Auburn loses to Ole Miss. I told you, Ole Miss is coming on strong this year. They beat the number 11 ranked Auburn Tigers. That was just a crazy game. And then Georgia beats the crap out of Vandy. SEC basketball, everyone talks about SEC football. SEC baseball is where it's at, honestly. But basketball, man, everybody really just beats up on everybody, man. So anyway, let's just kind of springboard off of that, off the games that we've had this week. Sam, I think you had some words you wanted to say about the best teams so far this season, what you see.
I think it's really hard to argue with Tennessee's the best team in the conference. I think Kentucky is Kentucky, and the fact he recruits all these freshmen every year in, year out, they're always a lot worse at the beginning than they are at the end. So I think that you're going to see Tennessee and Kentucky be your best teams. Auburn has been a major disappointment. A major disappointment this year. Austin Wiley has not been he's not really been effective. For Auburn to go to Ole Miss and get beat, Bruce Pearl should be on the hot seat for that, in my opinion. They have really underachieved. They had the best backcourt in the SEC last year. They got them back, and they got an All-American post player. I mean, to me, Auburn is a major disappointment. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm an Alabama fan. I'm saying that as a basketball coach. This is what I do for a living. I coach basketball for a living. They have been a major disappointment. I think LSU will be good at home, and they'll be bad on the road. I think that's what we're going to see with them because they're so young. I think Georgia will be the most improved team, and then Alabama is just going to be Alabama. They're going to build a lead, and at the end of the game, they're going to blow it. So that's just who they are under Avery Johnson. They play a lot of teams close and don't beat none of them unless they got Colin Sexton.
Rob, what do you think about what's going on so far in the SEC basketball?
I mean, I agree. Tennessee's the best team in the conference. I don't even think it's I mean, right now, I don't think it's a contest. Let me get this straight first of all, JV, since you want to throw out there that I'm sporting two teams.
I know, man.
No. So everyone all the two people that watch this, and one's already on the show. But anyway, I'm a dog fan first, always. I don't care if it's badminton. I'm a dog fan. The reason I grew up a Kentucky basketball fan, secondary, is because I have my dad's mom's family is from Kentucky. So, and when my dad was growing up, you didn't have, 12, 15 channels to watch sports on. You had like one or two. So, I mean, Kentucky was on more often than, other teams. So he was watching them. But no, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think it's going to be Kentucky and Tennessee in the top two, because I don't think Kentucky's that good. I'm just going to dog my own team right now. Hagen's right now the best player on probably the most beneficial player on the team. Keldon Johnson's going to be the highest draft pick, but Hagen's been playing well. He actually committed to Georgia first. Then they fired Mark Fox, and he decommitted and went to Kentucky. So just put that in perspective, how things would have been different. But everybody was ragging on me after the 96-50 win, and I don't feel bad about that loss. I mean, it was butt whooping, but I look at it this way: Tennessee is, I think, going to be in the Final Four this year. If I were betting right now, I'd say they're at least in the Final Four. They're just that good. Mm-hmm. And Georgia has mostly young players. They have one senior, mostly freshmen and sophomores. They have a really young team and a first-year coach. They're getting better, but they're just not there. Mm-hmm. And I think
if Georgia and Kentucky play each other, who are you rooting for?
Oh, I'm always rooting for Georgia.
Okay. That's fine. Just curious.
I mean, have I ever rooted for Kentucky over Georgia? Sure, but that was when I was a kid and I was confused.
Okay, how about this? If Kentucky's on the bubble and they're not going to make the NCAA
I knew you were
tournament.
Gonna pull that.
If Kentucky's on the bubble, they're not going to make the NCAA tournament. They're playing Georgia, who is, let's say they have no shot. They're like 7-17, and they're playing Kentucky, and Kentucky's on the bubble. Who are you going to who are you rooting for?
Are you saying Georgia has no shot and Kentucky's on the bubble?
Kentucky's on the bubble. They have to beat Georgia to get into the NCAA tournament.
So here's how I'll answer that. In my heart, I would go for Georgia, period.
Yeah.
Now, logically, so that I would have a team to root for, yes, I would have to somewhat pull for Kentucky.
Hey, man.
But deep down in my heart of hearts, I can't pull against Georgia.
But dude, you're always going to have a team to root for. If you just said you're SEC all the way, so you're going to have Tennessee to root for. Okay. You're going to have Auburn.
That's a cheap shot. That's a cheap shot, and you know it. It's a cheap shot, and you know it.
You should have pulled a Saban. I don't answer hypotheticals.
So stop asking.
Dude, some people hate Saban interviews. I love Saban's interviews. I think it's fantastic.
I think
it's fantastic.
He's third only to Ogeron and Jeremy Pruitt.
You can't understand what Orgeron says. He's like
That's what's great about it.
That's what's so great about it.
Go Tigers.
But I love what I love about Saban is that first of all, people always give him criticism, but they don't understand. He gets the dumbest questions out of any coach in the entire country asked to him.
For real.
Did y'all see him during the playoffs? The moderator's like, all right, all the questions need to direct to our student athletes. The first guy says Coach Saban, and the moderator says, no, we're tabling that one. Ask the players a question. He's like, y'all don't follow directions real well. Saban's like, y'all don't follow directions real well.
But no, I mean that's the answer the best way I can give it. I mean, in basketball, Kentucky's a close second, but I'm always going to root for Georgia first. It's just that's where my heart is rooted. But I mean, I'm just going to be real. Kentucky is going to be competing in the SEC tournament because they're Kentucky, but I don't see them making to the final this year, the final of the SEC tournament. They'll make the NCAA tournament. Don't see them going past the second round. Now, that all could change towards the end of the year this year's team just doesn't seem to have the same spark that previous teams have. We don't. Mm-hmm. It really frustrates me that the John Wall team did not win a national championship.
They should have not only won it. They should have gone undefeated.
Yeah, John Wall and Anthony Davis. How
do you not go 40-0? That is one of the greatest teams to ever play in college basketball. It is insane how much talent was on that team.
Who beat them?
Was that the year UConn beat them of all teams?
Was that the team they made it all the way to the national championship undefeated and then lost?
Yes, they were 39-0.
Yeah, okay.
No, was it 39 or did they make it to the Final Four? I can't remember. Anyway, they were saying.
I thought they got beat in the semifinals. What I thought.
I think they did.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Wasn't it?
They were 38-0, but they were saying everybody was saying they were going 40-0. They were saying the only team to ever do that. They were going to.
The team was so good,
and
man.
other team.
They should have. They had 3 pros on that team. 3 pros started for them.
I mean, you have John Wall and Anthony Davis. That's enough right there. And then you add the rest of that team.
I think I was actually rooting for Kentucky that year, to be honest.
I wanted to see somebody go. I'm the kind of guy people talk about. I don't want records to be broken. I want to see the record broken.
Yeah, I wanted to see a 40-0 team.
The only time I wouldn't is if and there's not really any of those in basketball per se, but there's certain teams that I can't root for a record to be broken. Well, actually, if it's against my team that the record's being broken. Otherwise, I can get on board with it. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'm gonna say. I went to a Braves game a couple years ago, and you'll probably remember this. Ubaldo Jimenez was pitching for the Rockies.
I think so.
For 7.5 innings, I rooted for the Braves. When the 8th inning rolled around, I rooted for the Rockies because I wanted to see a no-hitter in person. And he threw a no-hitter. He threw a no-hitter. So I can tell my kids, hey, I saw a no-hitter be thrown in person. So.
Can you imagine being there for, just side note, since you went there, for the game where Andres Galarraga pitched 9 2/3 perfect, and then that umpire screwed him? Can you imagine being a fan at that game? Everyone in there, even the opposite fans, had to be rooting for that because it's Andres Galarraga.
Exactly. 9 2/3 perfect.
He was a first baseman. You're thinking of somebody else.
Huh?
Andres
You're right. It's I can't remember his name. It was something similar to that.
It was Hispanic.
Yeah, it was a name that sounded a lot similar to that. Anyway, he pitched 9 2/3 perfect innings, and
referee
then
blew, an umpire blew the call.
Yeah, I mean, he was clearly out. They went back and reviewed it. This was before you could go back. Well, no, you still can't because, or can? Yeah, I guess you can now.
You can review that. Yeah,
you can now, but you couldn't at the time. You couldn't go back and review that. They didn't have that rule in place, and so he got screwed like royally. And so I can't imagine being a fan at that game.
Yeah, I don't really. I guess I don't remember that. It's weird. Like I've followed the Braves since
It wasn't the Braves.
1992. Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
The Braves weren't even in that game.
Galarraga.
Yes,
Armando
Galarraga. Okay. Yeah, Andres Galarraga was the first baseman.
Okay, but you see
yeah.
this last thing was the same.
I get it.
And another A. It was so close.
I got to say this. I got a message from somebody that I'm going to remain nameless because he hasn't given me consent to share this. So, but I've got to share it anyway, but I'm not going to give you his name. He says, I think this applies to Ashton tonight. Talking about Kentucky football. Right. Proverbs 26:4. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. Kentucky on par with Clemson.
Oh. Was that in the Tavern?
It's a member of the Tavern. I can't say who it is, though.
No, did he put it on the Tavern?
No, he sent me a direct message.
Oh, okay. I just was like, okay, I got to go find this if it's on the Tavern.
No. Yeah. Just talking about Kentucky being on par with Clemson. But anyway, we can go back to basketball. I just saw that and I had to share it. I'm sure Ashton watches all these episodes and I'm sure he'll see it, hopefully. Hopefully I'm not just talking trash about him behind his back. But anyway, yeah,
well,
I think – huh?
Oh, no,
what?
Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
No? It's not really important. He's on – Ashton's still on the call, technically.
Technically, yeah, but he's not paying attention.
True.
I agree with both of y'all. Tennessee is the best team in the SEC, like definitively. And if I'm not mistaken, did they not bring back all 5 starters from last year?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah,
they brought 2 all-SEC players. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And
Admiral
Schofield is freaking unbelievable.
Dude is a freaking baller, man. He's a dude for real. Yeah, Tennessee is the best team, and I find it hard pressed for anyone to. Yeah, they're going to completely. It's going to be easy to root for them, to be honest. When they get in there, like I want to see them go, and I want to see them go all the way. I get disappointed with the SEC in the NCAA tournament every year. A couple years ago, we brought 3 teams to the
Elite Eight.
To the Elite Eight. Yeah, exactly. 3 out of 8.
In the Final Four.
Yeah, exactly. And then they had to face each other. You know, they do that on purpose. Yeah, they did that in baseball. Anyway, so yeah, I've been kind of disappointed with our performance in the big tournament, but we'll see. We've been on the uprise in recent years.
One that won the SEC Big 12 Challenge for the first time last year.
That's true, we did, right? So yeah, I mean,
I was so pumped.
Dude, that made me so happy because I have so many Big 12 friends being from Arkansas, you know, like I got all these Oklahoma and Texas guys.
It's not just that, but we've never won it.
No, yeah, exactly.
We've tied it like once the year before last, we tied it. And then I think that was for the first time. And then we've always lost it until the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. I think we've got Texas Tech this year, which makes me really nervous because
I think we got Texas.
Oh, yeah, they're good this year too. Chris Beard is the coach at Texas Tech, and a lot of Arkansas fans really wanted to go after him and fire Anderson, but they didn't. So that's going to be a big game, and I really want us to win that because I really like Mike Anderson. Like, if Arkansas ever goes back to the Final Four, I want it to be with Mike Anderson. Like, that's how much I like the guy. He hasn't really got it done like I wanted him to, but I mean, I really want him to do well. anyway, y'all have anything else to add? Tennessee is the best, hands down. We could see Tennessee versus Kentucky or Tennessee versus Auburn. Who that fourth team is in the SEC, I don't really know because you have got a mixed field there. I mean, I would have thought it was going to be Mississippi State, but they screwed the pooch against South Carolina the other day. So I don't know, man. I mean, Mississippi State's a legit team. If Arkansas gets it together, they could be that team. At times I thought Vandy might bring it in there. It looks like Ole Miss has just been kicking tail lately, so I don't know. Ole Miss has only lost, 2 games this year?
Yeah, I think they're 12-2.
Yeah, so it could be Ole Miss of all people. They're an old team though. Like I like old teams like that. I mean that's why I thought Auburn was going to do well because they've got a really old team. They're experienced. They've got seasoned. So, yeah, I think your older teams are going to make those deep runs. That's why Kentucky's only had 1 national championship in the Calipari era when he's getting all these one and done guys. Well, they really don't play together that long, so they don't go that far.
South Carolina went deep.
For real, man. Yeah, exactly. Like South Carolina, they had one NBA player who may not even make it in the NBA. Like, is he even play? Like, is Thorn? What's his name?
Sindarius Thornton.
Thornwell. Sindarius Thornwell.
Thornwell, yeah.
Yeah, like they had one guy that
he was playing, but I don't think he was getting many minutes.
They have one guy. That's it. and they just played defense and had guys that had been playing for 3 or 4 years. So
yeah, but Sindarius Thornwell was a baller.
Dude was crazy good, man. Like in college basketball, like he was legit. I will say that. So yeah, I like the older teams like that. So I could see Ole Miss being in that 4th spot to get the double bye in the SEC tournament. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Who are the top 5 teams in the SEC right now?
I think it's too early to tell.
Sam, I think you put together a top 5, didn't you?
Well, it's I kind of threw it together. We had a game tonight, so I don't do a whole lot of research. But
yeah,
I'd go Tennessee at the 1 spot. Based upon this is 2 games into the conference,
right?
So I would say Ole Miss. I'd say Ole Miss is 2 or 3. South Carolina's 2 or 3. They're both undefeated to me. I'm basing it off 2 games. I think you throw Kentucky at 4. LSU 5. That would be my top 5. And then player of the week, I would say you got to go with the kid from Ole Miss.
Brian Tyree.
Yeah, he had 30. He dropped 30 piece. So.
Yeah, against Auburn.
Yeah.
I
think it was against Vandy. He dropped 30.
Was it Vandy? Yeah. Vandy dropped 30.
Let's see. Vandy dropped 31. He only had 5 against Auburn.
Terrence Davis had 27 against Auburn. Yeah.
Yeah. Their coach, was he Middle Tennessee?
I think so.
Yeah. He's a good coach. He did a good job. So.
Rob, what you got for us? Who are the best teams in the SEC, like the top 5, and who's the player of the week this week?
I'll be honest, I didn't see a lot of the other games. I haven't had the opportunity to really horn in on too much of it. I mean, so I don't know that I could pick a top 5 right now, to be honest. I think it's pretty early on.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, I wasn't even aware of that 30-point game we were talking about, so that shows how much I pay attention to the other teams. I'm just paying attention to Tennessee because, well, they destroyed Georgia, and because it's just hard not to. They're so good. So
yeah. I was actually I'm right there with Sam there. I mean, my two guys I was gonna say were the players of the week this week because Ole Miss did have two great upset games. You could say South Carolina did too, but I mean, Breein Tyree and Terrence Davis. I mean, those are my two co players of the week because I mean, those are some junior and senior guards at Ole Miss that put in 31 and 27 in two big games. One against Vandy, which you could say it's an upset, even though Ole Miss does have a better record this year. But then to beat Auburn the way they did was just ridiculous. And Terrence Davis was the winner of that game, so I had to give it to both of them. And I've already told you who my top 5 or 6 were. I mean, it's hard to say who that fourth best team is, so I just threw out 3 or 4 because right now you really don't know. I mean, and you won't know till the end of the year the way the SEC is, man. Teams go up and down. Teams go on runs. Arkansas will go on a run in February like we always do. So yeah, I can't judge my own team at this point because they always do better at the end of the year. Anderson usually goes on like a 9-1 or 9-2 run in February, so it's crazy. But anyway, I think that's it. Unless anybody has anything to say about that.
Basketball is a tournament sport. It doesn't even matter to the end.
Yeah.
Just get better. Put yourself in a position to make a run and make a run.
That's all I have.
That's what I tell my kids all the time. And high school is even more of a tournament sport because everybody gets in the playoffs in high school. We have an area tournament, and every team makes it. But in college, it's the same way in college. Every team can get in if they win their conference. Every team.
Yeah.
You can go 0 and whatever, win your conference in the end.
Yeah. So, Rob, you got anything to add?
No, that he about summed that up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess I will say it's been a great show. We had a rocky start at the beginning, and we ended up starting an hour late. I think that's a new record, actually. I don't think we've ever started an hour late. But it happens when the person who normally does the live event is not here, and we did not know what we were doing. So I'm sorry, guys, for staying up till 1 a.m. to watch this. If you actually are still watching this, then I love you, and I would like to send you $10 just to show my gratitude. But anyway, yeah, it's been a great show. I've enjoyed it. I like talking hoops, and I'm glad. I love football, but I was really ready for football season to be over because it was just making me hurt every single week, man. So I'm ready for something to cheer about, at least for a few weeks. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, with that, I will say, brothers, remember, let your light shine before men, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. And we will see you in the tavern. Peace out.